I knew 2024 was going to be a tumultuous year, full of a whole host of surprises, but I never thought my passion and enthusiasm for the video game industry, for video games in general, would get reignited. Like, I always thought that I would have a spark when eventually Final Fantasy VII Remake was coming around, but I never, in my wildest dreams, thought that something like Pal World would come along and, spark some curiosity. And then seeing what the developers behind Stellar Blade, which I don't even know all that much about. All I know is they got a chick in it and they're not making her lame and gay, and they're proud about it, and it's pissing off the right people. Brother, I have more hope and more faith in video games. Not so much in the AAA market, but if we're taking a look overseas, if we're taking a look over there on Eastern shores, I think the Japanese are coming to save us this time around, because Stellar Blade director rejects criticism of lead character's sex appeal. I don't want to see something normal. I want to see something more ideal. Which, like 100%, man. That has always been a thing. Right? As somebody who has always liked, story-driven, character-driven games. Like, I'm an old RPG head, JRPG head. Or even as, BioWare started to enter old BioWare, good BioWare started to enter the fold, where you had the Western take on it before it ended up getting, infused with all of the feminist frequency policies. The Mass Effect trilogy. I have respect for the first and third Dragon Age games. Like, those characters were always the ideal. It's the same way that people have love, and I do as well, for like 80s action movies, okay? Old cinema, because it wasn't about average people, or if it was a story about average people, they were in idealized situations, and that's what people want to see. Men like to see attractive women, and then when men also watch films, they want to see competent, capable, attractive, men. Like, you go to a theater for one of those previously mentioned action flicks, you would find it far more believable. Like, your cognitive dissonance wouldn't be triggered if you had Arnold out there, toting around a machine gun, blowing holes in people a la Predator, as opposed to, Timothy Chalamet. That's the only name that really, immediately jumps to mind. Like, he makes it as an action star in Dune, because that's a totally different power set, as opposed to somebody who's supposed to be bench pressing 225. For reps, and then, hopping in an Abrams tank in order to blow open the side of a building later in the day. Audiences wanted that. And you can see when you have different action films take off in the theaters, audiences still want that. And then when it comes to women on the screen in the digital and in the cinematic variety, they don't want these creepy people that they have to go ahead and it's like, no, she's a really talented actor. It's like, yeah, well, Bella Ramsey, okay, she might be talented, okay, she might actually be a decent actress in The Last of Us show, but I don't want to have to watch the previous episode at the same time that she's delivering this heartfelt soliloquy while I'm watching the rerun, yes, of the previous episode on her forehead at the same time. You don't have to uglify everything, okay, in order to appeal to a market that's never going to buy your product or consume your product in any meaningful way. The only way that they will is either through clips online or is by sailing the digital 7 seas. You're not winning anybody over by doing that. And frankly, you're pissing off that small demographic that is just basically going to be pissed off. Even if you capitulate to them right now, they're going to take offense to something in the future, so might as well just rip off that band-aid right now, gain some fans in the process, and stay based as hell, and hopefully put out a good game, because Stellar Blade is dropping relatively soon, and I think it's an action game, but we'll figure it out. The specifics, we don't need to get into that, right? But you'll love to see it. Rather than giving into the outrage leveled against the attractive design of his game's lead female character, Stellar Blade's director Hyung-Tae Kim, this is a Korean endeavor, obviously, you can kind of tell by the name, is standing behind his creative vision. Yes, of course, there has been, oh my god, so many different issues with this, and I've got to do something with that story right there, because I called that the fact that people are getting pseudo mad at getting rid of the orthopedic underwear scene, because apparently that was, well, I'm not playing and have no desire to play the demo for Rebirth, but the fact that they released, arguably, this might be a hot take, the most boring part of Final Fantasy VII as the demo for Rebirth. Like, I hate that Nibelheim flashback scene. It's just, it never did anything for me before, and it was always, it's like, okay, cool, the game finally gets started after you're out of calm. But I digress. Back to Stellar Blade here for a second. But yeah, they're taking offense for, oh my god, there's no orthopedic. The game's got woke. Oh my god, developer. It's like, just shut up, okay? The way that they handled it is actually better. In a few short weeks, I'll be able to experience it, and I can't wait. Directed by Kim for Korea-based Goddess of Victory, Nikkei, developer Shift Up. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but we'll go with it. And set to be published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. Stellar Blade puts players in the shoes of Eve, one of the few remaining humans left standing in defense of Earth, following the plans to take over by a monstrous alien species known as the Nyatiba. Sure. An agile and skilled fighter, Eve's mission is given renewed purpose one day when she is introduced to the city of Zion, the last remaining human outpost on the planet's surface. This is a video game plot if I've ever seen it. I like it. Finding herself connected with Zion's residents, the heroine then resolves to put her abilities to use, protecting Zion from any and all Natiba, sure, threats, as well as unlocking the secrets of the mysterious robotic mother sphere worshipped by the city's residents. All right, it's pretty straightforward. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why a lot of the game's journalists that are out there are taking problem with the game, because of the gameplay. It's like, okay, cool, you have a strong female protagonist. I thought you guys liked that stuff, but oh no, she's also a strong, attractive female protagonist. I see why I got problems with that. Third-person character action game that feels like a mix between Nier Automata, Devil May Cry 5, and a little Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. Okay, well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And a cybernetic flavor. One of Stellar Blade's most distinguishable features is the depiction of Eve herself. Get it? Her name is Eve because she's the last woman, like the first woman. Based upon a full-body scan of Korean model Shin Jae-eun, which, if you've seen anything about this game or other similar type reporting, is likely the picture that you've seen out there. And I think that was the one that was even likely shared by the director of the game. It's like, yeah, that's the model that we're using because we wanted an attractive female character. It's like, normally, I wouldn't like to be putting these thoughts out there, for the world to see, but it's a video game. It's escapism. If you're going to have one woman left in the world, at least make her attractive. And I don't even like Asians like that. Not even being like racist or anything, but there's a stereotype out there that, white guys really love Asians, but I don't know, never really did anything for me. Sorry, not sorry. Personal choices after all. The heroine's appearance is both equal parts feminine and sexually appealing. Why be redundant? A stark contrast to the usual character designs that are typically born out of today's, Lazarus pit. Because you see most of those female atrocities, characters from Western games, and holy shit, you're just happy if their eyes line up on a perpendicular field. Holy shit, man. That, or you're worried about your strong female protagonist if you're having an over-the-shoulder third-person action-adventure game. You're just wondering how short that sprint bar is going to be because you're wondering if, in a barren wasteland where they have access to an endless supply of double-stuffed Oreos. So yeah, to get somebody who's a thin, super-powered, and attractive, this is just absolutely sending the industry into a tizzy, and I love it. Because, it's unrealistic. Where are her organs? It's like, motherfucker, got a real ass bitch right there. Real is subjective, and you can go ahead and take a look at the Instagram. There's at least several pictures of her, even if she is just putting it through a filter. She's very much out there, and a lot of her is out there, regrettably. And yet, despite the usual accusations of sexism, this design choice has Kim has affirmed that he has no interest in changing course. I love it. Offering his thoughts on the topic to Games Radar, Kim, speaking through a translator, obviously, he's Korean, explained that when it came to Eve's design, we put special attention to the back of the character because the player is always facing the back of the character when they're playing. And, oh yes, very good. Every once in a while, bounding into comics misses, but when they hit it. And speaking of things that you'd hit, that's what they see the most of. He elaborated, oh yes, here's the thing, we're definitely seeing the most of it on the team's creative philosophy. So we thought this was pretty important. Very much so, man. Really looking a lot like, oh Christ, what was the name? Lollipop Chainsaw Lollipop. It's hilarious, right? Because you got, that character that's there. She was the high school cheerleader, and she had the severed head of her, boyfriend. Ah, man, it was by one of those really famous guys. Like, he was making the No More Heroes games. I forget that studio, but they were very well regarded. And I played that game. It was fun. I don't even think I finished it or anything like that. It was just one of those hack and slash games, but that is still a very popular cosplay. Same with the Bayonetta games. Now, those are a little bit better regarded, but, Bayonetta is still a popular cosplay because guess what? Men and women alike, your audience, your target audience, likes attractive characters. Big shocker on that one. Ain't nobody dressing up as round-faced generic protagonist from Horizon. Nobody cares about that goof. And if they do, they make a sexy version of it. Opining that the choice to present a character with such a sexually appealing design has become somewhat of a brave thing to be going for or attempting. Kim told the outlet that in terms of very harsh reaction to Eve may elicit from global audiences, i.e. terminally online Westerners based, I personally think that compared to movies, animations, manga, and so on, people are especially strict towards games. Yes, because of the overarching industry being so incredibly and terminally insecure about their own standing within the industry, not realizing that it's the biggest one in all of entertainment. In games, there are all views that people have, which are not always positive about unrealistically beautiful characters. To this end, the director then bluntly admitted, honestly, when I play a game, I would like to see somebody who's better looking than myself. Absolutely. I want to see somebody that's more capable than myself. I want to see somebody who's better looking than myself. I want to see somebody who's just overall a better version of me, because guess what? If I could do everything that I can play in a video game, I'd go out there and do it, but I can't, so I won't, so I'll do the next best thing. That's what I want, he concluded. I want to do something, I don't want to see something normal. I want to see something more ideal. I think that it's very important in the form of entertainment. This is, after all, entertainment targeted for adults. Exactly. I would imagine this game, based on the premise that we've seen right there, and based on the character designs that we've seen right there, this is going to be marketed for at least teens, likely for a mature audience, which is what everybody forgets. For the people that think that age of consent is just simply a number, talking about those creepy journalists that are over there that want to go ahead and talk about all of the most disgusting things possible that would make regular adults blush. But when you want to show them an attractive female or male form, then they become the Puritans that they always want to allege that you're trying to be when they are being adequately checked from talking about sexual activities, presence of minors. Very strange. Very strange how they reconcile that. Oh, wait, they don't. At current, Stellar Blade is on track to stylishly slice its way exclusively to PS5 consoles this April 26th. And as somebody who has just recently secured his PS5, given the right price point, might have to take a look myself. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.